everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Being Unapologetically Authentic with me, your host, Jean Tian. And I want to finish up this last step in the pause framework. So if you recall, the first four step is P for pause, A for acceptance, U for understanding, S for speak or not to speak. And the last letter, E, and the last step is effect for expansion, meaning make the changes to grow. That's the expansion part. Because with conflict, there's two ways that we can treat conflict, and there's two possibilities that can come out of it. Number one is that we can treat conflict as if it's an insult, and we retreat, and we will attack, and we will use that as an opportunity to fight. And it's not for fight for what's right, it's to fight so that everyone recognizes that you're right. That's not conflict for expansion. That's conflict for more conflict. That's conflict that's really, really destructive. Is that when you manage these differences, or like when you go into a situation where there are differences, whether it's of opinions or beliefs or situations or backgrounds or whatever it is, and you're going in there to show that you're the best, your idea is the best, your work is the best, your project is the best. That is a destructive level of conflict because you're going in there to make yourself look good and only yourself look good at the expense of others. Now, another possibility when it comes to conflict is what I call generative conflict or collaborative conflict, creative conflict, constructive conflict. All of those are what we want to implement or what we want to achieve with the step E, effect for expansion, meaning make the changes that we need or put into place the things that needs to happen in order for this to become a collaborative conversation, a constructive conversation, a conversation for growth. So let's say, for example, you and Susie don't tend to agree on many things, and one of them is whether the colors should be blue or teal. I don't know, I'm just picking something. And to your eyes, and I think this is a really good example too, now that I'm thinking about it, even though I came up with it on the spot, because beauty is subjective. Whether or not something looks good is also subjective. So, and we understand that about art, but rarely do we understand that about our own ideas. And facts are really not facts, because if you recall, one of the episodes that I did was that our truth can very much be impacted and different because of the filters that we have. Because for me, one eye is clear, the other eye is not clear. So when we do this, I can see clearly with one eye, the colors are bright, but then when I, do this, I can't see that clearly. And the colors are not as bright. They're a little duller. The shade of green is even different. Like the shade of the colors, like if I'm looking outside at the trees, it's even different. So my fact can be very different than somebody else's fact. But if I go in saying, no, this is right, my fact is right, the blue is better, then that's not constructive at all. That's very destructive because you're fighting to prove that you are correct rather than looking at it and stepping back and taking a look at this picture that you're creating. And perhaps it's a mixture of the blue and the teal. Perhaps the teal is the better choice because you have shades of green or gray that better match that color in the design that you're creating. And when you step back, you allow for that expansion to happen because you can take a different perspective. And so the decisions that you make will be a very different decision. And then if you were to just keep insisting because all you do is look just at the blue and how the blue looks good, that decision that you make is going to be much more constructive, right? When you're looking at it from another angle, when you're looking at the bigger picture, when you're looking to see what will make the overall design better, rather than what will make this part that I'm working on better. Because no matter what situation we are in, even if it's the home, our workplace, outside in the supermarket with people that we don't know, we play this small part in the overall picture. And when we only focus on what's good for our part, we miss this bigger picture that we're in. We miss this role that we play and this impact that we have in this bigger picture. And so the question is that when we don't see this bigger picture, what are we actually really doing? We're destroying it from the inside. We're destroying the role that we have, our abilities, our opportunities to see the bigger picture, to make the bigger picture better. And I think oftentimes, especially in the workplace, I think so often we're so focused on going there and doing our best and standing out, and that's really important. But what's even more important is looking at what's best for the organization, what's best for my team, what's best for my employees, what's best for the industry, what's best for, our partners. And when we can look at it from that perspective, everybody wins. But more importantly, you win too. You're not winning at the destruction of others, but you're winning supporting others. And so the effect for expansion is doing the things that is important so that we all can expand. Everyone expands. So actually now I'm going to change the E on the spot. E stands for everyone expands. That's the angle. That's the perspective that needs to be taken when we're looking for constructive conflict, when we're looking to turn this conflict into something that will be productive, into something that will give you the competitive advantage, into something that is collaborative and that will create things that people haven't seen before. Because it's okay to have a different opinion. What's not okay, and what I see happening right now, especially in this age of elections, is people are putting the other person down for their difference in opinions. And that to me is not okay. We've all been taught to be respectful for each other. That includes when we have a different perspective. So instead of coming at somebody really hard and being angry at them because they didn't do what you expected them to do, go in and ask them, hey, what happened? I want to understand the situation. What's going on? Help me understand your perspective for here. You are then tackling this conflict in a very collaborative way. Instead of inserting your beliefs. So instead of saying, hey, you didn't do this right, blah, 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 and blah, 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 you can go in and say, you go in with the attitude that right is also subjective. It's your right. It doesn't mean it's their right. So when you recognize that two of you can have two very different truths, you can then go in to help everyone expand by saying, hey, what's going on with you? Not in that way, like, hey, what's going on with you? But like, hey, what's happening here? Help me understand your perspective. Why do you say that this, or what is it that? And then you go all the way back into acceptance, understanding, and then you decide whether or not to say the thing that you want to say, because at the end of the day, you are looking for expansion for everyone. Everyone is expanding, not just you. So I hope that this has been helpful, and I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have any like scenarios, feel free to shoot them over. We can certainly tackle them in the future episodes. I love talking about this stuff. It's stuff that I go through every day, and I definitely apply it as much as I can. Like I said, I'm still human. It doesn't always, come to mind when I'm like feeling the feels. But I certainly know that conflict happens every day. It is inevitable, inevitable. But it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to bring up the icky feelings. It can actually be something that you look forward to, because you know that when you cross the road or when you cross that bridge with the 5 steps, the pause framework, the two of you will be there creating something new, something fun, something exciting, perhaps something you never even thought of before. So if you have enjoyed this episode, if you have enjoyed this pause framework, please feel free to share and also hit that like and subscribe button at the very bottom. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.